the bites are ferocious. And when they eat it, they really commit to it, and there's no guessing that you got a bite. It's a really, really special time to be using a larger topwater style bait. So instead of doing a longer drawn out clicks when I do in the winter when it's cold out, what I'll do in the summertime is I'll speed it up and I'll get that bait moving. You don't want to stop it. You want to keep it moving, keep it going. And the key is with this bait, you want to keep your elbows tucked in. You don't want to have your elbows out. You want to keep it tucked, because what can happen is you can wear down your elbows and your shoulders when you're doing this technique, especially if you're trying to be effective and doing it for a very long period of time. Because you'll notice when you're casting this around, you'll get fatigued pretty quickly if you're not utilizing the right mechanics for this technique, because you can really wear yourself out really easily, and you can actually injure yourself when you're throwing these larger style topwater baits or swim baits in general if you're not utilizing the right mechanics. So moving in through the seasons, we push into the fall now. And the fall is a time where all these bait fish start pushing shallow. The bass start to feed up. They know it's starting to get cold. They start to trigger this automatic feed instinct within them to want to feed up. And for me, that's when I really switch over to smaller, more compact, bigger baits. So still using the Pop Max, using the Big Gabbit, still on the larger side of things, but you're still able to draw a bigger bite with a larger profile in and around cover. So I'll be targeting the further backs of pockets and whatnot, and always just keeping your head on a swivel and looking around constantly, because you never know when something in the nature can key you in on what a bite is going to turn into. All right, folks, now we're going to dive into the habitat of which I'm targeting. And this is really important, because anyone can buy the right rod, buy the right bait, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you're kind of lost. And so let's start with upland reservoirs and whatnot. You're going to be looking for main lake points. And when you have, during the winter time, a lot of the wind blows the trout up on these main lake points, and a lot of these larger bass they're super territorial, and especially the bigger ones, they're going to want to hold down one major point or a bend on the body of water. And especially if the visibility is anywhere from like 3 to 15 foot plus, is you're going to be looking for these fish that are on these main giant points. Another part to look for, like let's say you have grass lines. Grass lines are also really important, like if you push into the summertime where you have hydrilla or milfoil or anything that tops up on the sides of these pockets as you work in. Bass are orientated around lines. They want to be close to a line, whether it's a grass line or if it's a transition of rock. And there's been multiple studies done where you put like one piece of black electrical tape in a blank tank, the bass will suck to that little piece of electrical tape because they feel safe there, because they're line oriented. But so like I said, grass lines. Another thing is wood. When utilizing like the Pop Max or like the Big Gabbit, wood is such a strong habitat that is consistent year round for the most part. Fish feel really safe there. Not only the bass feel safe, but the bluegill feel safe there. And if bluegill and brim and other types of forages feel safe around wood, you bet the bass are going to be feeding up around those areas as well. So really important, whenever you're going to have a mixture of these things as well, it's a key element to tune in on, is if you have a nice grass edge that leads to a nice lay down or a nice log that's in the water, really important to not overlook that and to take your time and work that giant topwater around those pieces of cover.